What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and today we are discussing the fact that everyone hates No Man's Sky. It seems like it's rare nowadays to get a big game release that's not surrounded in controversy, and No Man's Sky is no different, and that's what we're talking about today. We're going to be taking a look at the hate No Man's Sky is getting and really analyzing whether or not that hate is legitimate. Spoiler alert, most of it is. This is actually a crazy game in terms of controversy, and we're going to be going over all of it. However, I'd like to reiterate that this is a discussion. We're going to be looking at both sides of the story. So if you've already scrolled to the comment section and are making an all caps lock comment, you're doing it wrong. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me, but at least watch the video so you know what you're disagreeing about. Now with that out of the way, let's jump right into it, and the first thing I'm going to do is defend No Man's Sky a little bit, and I know as a YouTuber that's a crazy thing to do. The No Man's Sky hate train is at full force right now, but I've always kept it honest with you guys, and I plan to continue to do so. And my honest opinion is that No Man's Sky does get one big thing right, and that is exploration. I've heard people, big name YouTubers, make videos saying, oh, I went to 30 planets and they're all the same. That, in my case, is absolutely untrue. It just hasn't happened to me. I have been to boring ass, plain ass, rock ass planets where nothing is happening. Don't get me wrong, you'll get a lot of those. And in fact, I'm not accusing anyone of lying by saying that they've been to a bunch of boring planets. That's exactly what happens in terms of procedural generation. The amazing planets, the planets that I've been to that have really blown my mind, you know, swamp planets with underwater bases, a planet where there's a constant raging snowstorm and you have to actually stay in the water because it's warmer than outside. Those have been actually legitimately fun, crazy, and interesting planets to explore. However, there is a lot of boring planets, but again, that's the point of procedural generation. For every 100 boring planets, that's what makes the amazing planets stand out. The amazing planets are amazing because the stars have kind of aligned in their procedural generation. You know, the flora will be on a scale of 1 to 100, it'll be 90 to 100. Like, statistically, it doesn't happen very often, but the fact that it can happen makes these interesting planets that we find. And if you are someone who legitimately just enjoys exploring, going to these planets, looking at cool vistas, taking screenshots, you're probably going to like No Man's Sky. It really does do that well, and I have been impressed by the variation. Yes, you are definitely going to start to recognize patterns in animals and definitely plants. I really wish they would have done plants better, and I really wish that the animals were bigger. I want these, you know, 5-story high, massive Leviathan animals on certain plants, and I've never found any of those. Furthermore, bases really need to be improved. Although finding bases can be kind of fun and you can have some neat alien interactions, there is not enough differentiation in the actual structures you can find on these different planets. With that being said, I'm still pleasantly surprised with how much variation there is, especially in the animals. I still see animals after being to dozens of planets that I've never seen before anywhere else, so I think that's actually pretty good. Now, here's the thing that really turns this whole argument on its head. Again, I truly believe, in my honest opinion, that No Man's Sky does exploration pretty well in terms of the planets you go to, you know, cool vistas, certain planets are very cool, there's a decent amount of variety there, but it just stops there. The buck stops so hard right there, because the sad fact of the matter is that you want to be able to go explore. Like, I wish I could just turn on No Man's Sky, go to as many planets as I can within, you know, an hour period and just experience as much as this game has to experience. But the problem with this game, and part of the reason why it's getting hate, and part of the reason why some of that hate is so legitimate, is that the game seems to be actively trying to prevent you from doing the best thing about it. This game holds you back so hard from actually experiencing the best part about it, which is the exploration, because it is tied down so immensely with its stupid crafting system. For every cool planet you go to, you have to go to the boring planets, and the worst part is that you'll go to a boring planet, flora deficient, fauna deficient, and the stupid sentinels try to kill you, but you have to stay there because you have to get stupid resources resources so that you can go out and find the cool planets. Now, of course, this game is going to have, some sort of thing holding you back a little bit, so you can't just go to all these planets on a whim. It would get boring quickly if that was the case. But the crafting system is just done in such a limited way, and you are so limited in what you want to do that it's just ridiculous. You start out with so little inventory slots, and you need all of them. Just taking off of the ground with your launch thruster requires a certain element to fuel, and it takes up 25% of a charge when you take off the ground, so you better have a lot of this certain element in reserves if you want to do any sort of exploring. And then your pulse engine, which actually gets you from planet to planet, that requires a totally different kind of fuel. Great, that's another inventory slot. Not to mention all of the repairing you're going to have to do. God forbid you get into a space battle, you're going to have a ton of, titanium or another sort of oxide to be able to repair things on the fly. Your inventory is taken up so quickly by all of this stuff that you actually need. So most of your time on these planets, even if they're cool planets, is just running and trying to find a merchant as quickly as you can so you can sell the 2 or 3 inventory slots you have forced to be made available so you can actually make some money, and then you go out, explore for a little bit, and have to run right back. I've never really experienced where you actually just kind of go off on a planet. I've never been more than like 5 minutes from my plane because I know I'm just going to have to go back very quickly because my inventory is so limiting. Now that, coupled with the fact that getting resources is pretty damn boring, unless you actually are in a fight, with the Sentinels, and there's the dog Sentinels and all that stuff, and you're fighting for your life, and that gets you, titanium and other resources, that's fine. And sometimes you'll find, mining facilities and other things that give you actually a break from what you're doing and are a little interesting and a little bit fun to get resources. But that's the 1%. The other 99% of the time, you're shooting your laser at rocks or at different formations or just in space shooting asteroids over and over again, and that's it. And there's no variation in that gameplay. So that has led to the massive and totally legitimate criticism that this game gets boring. It does get boring. And I definitely think that if No Man's Sky wasn't so strict with the whole crafting system and let you explore a little bit more readily and actually experience the best part of the game, it wouldn't be receiving so much hate. And even exploration, I want to mention one more thing, like you have to upgrade your hyperdrive, you actually have to build a hyperdrive, get fuel for it, which is pretty complicated to make and takes a lot of money if you need to buy it, so that is a time-consuming factor. So then you have to fuel it, and then you actually have to upgrade it with blueprints that I haven't even found yet. Actually, I very recently got the blueprints to finally upgrade my hyperdrive, but of course I need some components I need to go farm for another god knows how many hours in order to actually get the right things to upgrade it, just so I can actually do the best part of the game, which is explore. Just so I can actually get a hyperdrive that will let me go to, the certain solar system that's like, oh, you need to upgrade your hyperdrive to go there. Just let me go there. Again, let me experience the best part of this game, which is its exploration. It is ridiculous that it's holding you back from the best part of this game so often. And that, I feel, is the main problem with gameplay in No Man's Sky, and the thing that's kind of really holding it back. Now, unfortunately for No Man's Sky, that's not all. We have a huge amount of controversy when it comes with kind of broken developer promises. I'm not going to go over everything, I'm just going to go over the main thing that everyone knows about: multiplayer. Guys, if you go to the No Man's Sky subreddit, it's not even a discussion. They have, proven beyond a reasonable doubt. There's clips of the developer being asked, can you see other players in multiplayer? Is there multiplayer? And the developer is saying, yes. Yes, there is multiplayer. Yes, other people can see you. Yes, you can see other people. And you can't. You can't. So what's the deal there? There's even more of a controversy where they're actually now releasing certain No Man's Sky game packages with a little sticker. And if you peel back the sticker, what's under the sticker is the button saying that there is multiplayer. So they're kind of trying to cover themselves up for a lawsuit now. That's how bad it is. So, the developer has actually gone to Twitter and said it's because too many people are playing, it's a server issue. I hope that's the case, but as it stands right now, there's no multiplayer, and that's actually one of the main draws of the game, honestly. I would have loved being able to see other players in No Man's Sky and putting out a challenge to my subscribers: come find me, I'm on this planet. That would have been awesome. That would have been one of the best parts of the game, and the fact that they specifically said it would have it, then it doesn't have it. That's not good. That's not right. And then you have, on top of that, kind of the terrible cherry on top of everything, is at $60. Frankly, I could be willing to forgive all of this if this was a $20, $30, maybe even a $40 game on Steam. We do get sometimes these, very innovative, different, quirky kind of games on Steam. Rust comes to mind, Subnautica, that they have a lot of problems with them, and they're often, a little bit overpromised and all that stuff, but they're cheap. They're $30 or they're $20 or whatever they are, and so people feel like, I am still getting my money's worth. And that's one of the huge issues with No Man's Sky, is that if it was $30, I think a lot of this would be forgiven because, again, at its core, at the beginning of the video, as I said, going from planet to planet and experiencing what this game has to offer in terms of exploration is legitimately fun. It is an awesome feature, I believe, of this game. And that is why you get a lot of people defending this game, is that they truly enjoy that aspect of it and they're willing to look past all of these other aspects. But again, the problem is that it's a full price game. This game is the exact same price as Black Ops 3. Now, whether or not you hate Black Ops 3 is irrelevant. The fact is, Black Ops 3 brought us an entire campaign, Zombies mode, a fully functioning multiplayer, and Dead Ops Arcade. For goodness sakes, all for $60. That's pretty good, value for money. And then look at other games like The Witcher, look at other games like Battlefields, these games, these other AAA games, yes, I know that they are, they have so many more people working at those studios, and No Man's Sky was just a tiny studio, and I respect the hell out of the development studio for doing what they did, but they shouldn't have charged $60 for it. They would have made mad profit. There was only at most, there was 16 people ever working on No Man's Sky. If they would have charged $30 for it, they would have made an insane amount of profit. The only reason they charged $60 is because they could. Because they had the pre-orders and because they got a little greedy. And because of that, it's going back and it's biting them in the ass because people are expecting a quality of a $60 game. They're expecting a Call of Duty style game in terms of content, in terms of running smoothly off launch. The PC launch has just happened. It's been a disaster in terms of frame rate drops, in terms of everything glitching out. So people expect more from a fully priced game, and that was really the developer's fault for doing this. So, in summary, No Man's Sky at its core, I think has done something pretty cool. I love the exploration in No Man's Sky. I'm still gonna stream this game because I legitimately have fun streaming it, and I have fun making the highlights of the cool planets. The problem is that it's built up on a pretty crappy resource-based crafting system, which is just boring, repetitive, and really holds you back from experiencing the best part of the game. On top of that, you have an outraged community, rightfully so, because this game has outright broken developer promises about what it would be, and furthermore demands a full price $60 price tag, so it's competing with the other AAA titles out there, which, let's be honest, are a lot better than this in terms of how smoothly they run and what they actually have to offer in content. All of these things combine to create kind of the perfect storm of hate against No Man's Sky. And again, I totally see why it's happening. I think on Steam right now, it's 30% positive reviews, which is horrible. They've already seen evidence that on Metacritic, the developers or whoever, some unknown entity, is actually creating fake accounts and putting all 10 scores. A bunch of people went in and all of these accounts are basically copy-pasted saying the exact same thing, all giving No Man's Sky a 10 out of 10. A little suspicious, if you don't mind me saying. And this is a huge problem and a huge controversy for the reasons I've outlined in this video. So hopefully the developers, they can't really do a lot of the things I've outlined. Well, maybe they can in patches, introduce multiplayer, fix the crafting system, stuff like that. Put it on sale immediately, lower its price to $40, refund everyone who bought it $20. That would actually go a long way in improving customer satisfaction, but unfortunately, it's doubtful they'll do that. Because that's just the state of modern gaming right now. And if I'm going to end this video, it's going to be with a warning. Don't get caught up in the hype. Everyone does it. I do it. And in fact, some people get so caught up in the hype, they attack anyone asking legitimate questions. I made a video talking about a no-hype analysis to the Rise of Iron, the new DLC for Destiny, where I went and I really analyzed what they were offering and if it's going to improve the game. Mostly it looks pretty positive, but I got people actually, swear to God, saying, you know, this is terrible, you shouldn't be ruining the hype. They were mad at me because I dared go against the hype train. You can't have that in modern gaming because the hype train is going to be what excites you, what makes you buy, and inevitably what disappoints you. We should have no problem with asking the legitimate and hard questions to the developers, because if they've actually done something right, they should be able to answer those questions. Now that's going to be it for the video. Huge thanks to everyone who's actually stuck around to this part, the actual end of the commentary. Now if you guys like what I'm talking about and agree with what I'm saying, even if you don't and you're just happy I said it, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. Heck, some of you might like it so much you even hit that subscribe button, which I would encourage. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickHackis, which is linked in the description down below. So is my Twitch channel, which you can see me streaming even No Man's Sky every so often, so check that out as well. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day. Now the Cryptarch is just such a huge part of Destiny. He is so associated with the game, both in the positive, like when he gave you your first exotic out of a legendary engram, and the negative, like when he gave you blues out of your other 100 legendary engrams. But either way, he is just so strongly a part of Destiny, and that's why it's kind of sad to see him so heavily fallen from grace, become so essentially useless within the current state of the game.